I had never considered sharing a moment with my dog until that day while attending a family picnic. I found myself feeling quite lonely and yearning for a brief nap to give you a clearer picture of me. I have a body defined by its curves, ample hips, a full bust and thighs that have always attracted both admiration and attention. My measurements are 46 inches at the bust, 38 at the waist, and 50 at the hips. The picnic was intended to help us reconnect as a family, a chance to mend the bonds that had frayed amidst life's busyness. The day began with high hopes. Ronnie was busy setting up the campsite while the kids frolicked in the woods, their laughter echoing around us. However, it wasn't long before Ronnie's phone call whisked him away, leaving me to find my own entertainment. My faithful companion, Bernard. Our Saint Bernard was by my side. We affectionately referred to him as Santa's dog, since he had come into our lives last Christmas, a delightful surprise that wandered into our yard. Bernard was always protective and loyal, but that day his demeanor felt uniquely different. When Ronnie took the kids into the woods to gather firewood, I found myself alone with Bernard. The crisp air was invigorating, and while the chill nipped at my skin, the campfire provided a cozy warmth. Sitting on a blanket, I gaze at the trees, my mind adrift in thought. Initially, Bernard lay beside me, his head resting gently on my lap, his big brown eyes reflecting an unexpected understanding as he nuzzled closer. His warm breath caressed my hand, and what began as a simple comfort soon transformed. He pressed against me, his enormous paws resting softly on my chest as if he were attempting to embrace me. "Bernard, what are you doing?" I whispered, a nervous laugh escaping my lips as I tried to dismiss the peculiarity of the moment. Yet he continued, his large, wet nose brushing against my cheek, followed by a gentle lick that traced the curve of my jaw. My pulse quickened, and I couldn't quite understand the pleasant sensation coursing through me, yet I instinctively tried to pull away. However, he was so large and persistent, his affection escalated, and when he began to lick my bare feet, I found myself paralyzed. It was an odd feeling, unsettling, yet there was something in his gaze that held me in place. It was as if he could perceive my solitude, my deep yearning for connection. "Please, Bernard." "Stop," I said with determination. Pushing him back, he whimpered, his eyes reflecting a heartbreak that tugged at my own. I stood up abruptly, shaking off the blanket and retreating into the tent with Bernard's heavy footsteps following closely behind. The chill outside was biting, and the idea of leaving the tent unzipped never crossed my mind. I quickly zipped it shut, sealing us both inside. I lay down, pulling the blankets tightly around me, in an attempt to drown out the confusion swirling in my thoughts. Bernard nestled at my feet, his warmth enveloping the cramped space. The silence was almost oppressive, and my heart raced as I grappled with the peculiarity of the situation. As I went to sleep, I was in my husband's oversized t-shirt and not wearing anything below. Suddenly, I felt thirsty. I got up and went outside to drink water now. Picture the scene. It is the middle of the Green Valley, and I am not in my clothes, bending over to pour some water in a glass, and I am feeling the warm, fuzzy feelings between my legs. And there he is sitting, a full-blooded male dog. What is he to do but go and investigate the scent? And moments later, it hit me, a sloppy, wet tongue slithering right between my legs that was already puffy and damp. I was taken aback by the unexpected touch, leaping up in surprise and exclaiming, "Oh my God, what?" When I turned around, there was Bernard, his tail thumping against the floor. You know how dogs can be, with that goofy expression, and his head cocked to one side as if he were asking, "I like that, can I have some more, please?" I shot him a stern look and said, "You can keep your nose out of there, you rascal." After that, I picked up my glass and retreated to my tent. I couldn't quite tell if it was the warmth of the blanket, the soothing tools I had applied to my skin, or perhaps just thoughts of my dog, but I found myself feeling quite frisky and in need of some personal attention. So I reached for one of my favorite toys, settled back, and began to indulge in a little playful exploration. I was completely lost in my own world, completely unaware that the dog had quietly made its way around me and was now sitting at the bedroom door, observing me. Intently, the urgency of my need was becoming overwhelming, a deep yearning that felt rooted in my very being. It was that intense craving that drives you to the brink, and I could feel myself approaching that edge rapidly. As I lay on my back, I lifted my legs high and spread them wide, while Burner, drawn closer, watched me with an intensity that made me wonder what thoughts were racing through his mind. In an instant, he made his move, entering the tent with a swift grace. He began to sniff around, perhaps sensing some dirt, and decided to clean it off with his tongue. The sensation was pure bliss, and I found myself lost in the moment. At that moment, I felt utterly powerless, a sensation that only another woman could truly grasp when one of those overwhelming pleasures washes over you. My body seemed to take control, my breath quickening with anxiety, and my legs stiffening as time ticked by. Sweat poured from every pore, and I was completely entranced, forgetting my husband, my children, and any sense of loyalty I once held. I drifted into a fog, my eyes fluttering shut as I succumbed to sleep. When I finally opened my eyes, the clock revealed I had dozed for 3 hours, and my mind reconnected with my body. I became aware of something slick gliding across my skin, and as I turned onto my back, my weary legs fell open, revealing Bernard, the dog, eager to resume his previous activities. I was savoring every instant, fully immersed in the joy of the experience. Suddenly, the dog approached and began nudging me from behind. While it was a bit uncomfortable, only I understood the depth of my enjoyment. After a quarter of an hour filled with intensity, he left me, pondering, enveloped in a sense of fulfillment. The dawn broke gently with the soft glow of morning seeping through the delicate material of the tent. I pulled down the zipper and emerged into the fresh, chilly air. Taking a deep breath, Bernard trailed behind me, keeping a close distance as I tidied up the traces of yesterday's activity. A sense of unease lingered in my thoughts, and I found it hard to view him without the weight of guilt pressing down on me. As Ronnie and the children came back, their joyful laughter shattered the quiet around us, with his arms loaded with firewood. Ronnie was completely focused on preparing breakfast, unaware of any underlying tension. However, I felt a shift within me. Something had transformed. The secret I held was inexplicable. Even to my own understanding, it was an unexpected moment that prompted me to reevaluate everything I thought I knew, while Ronnie beamed at me blissfully. Unaware, I found myself pondering whether the burden of the secret would ever truly lift. If you're enjoying the story, please like the video and hit the subscribe button for more interesting stories.